forecast, things looking crazy, a storm on the horizon. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the face. From the first sign of trouble to the all-clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all-clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
Let's get this show on the road, guys. What do you say? I think we shall do this. This is Emergency Management Associates. We're on the air for you 5 days a week, and sometimes all week long and weekends as well. Now, let me explain that. Okay, it can happen. We're on the air Monday through Friday, sometime between 4 and 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, all week long, all year long. But if something happens at nighttime when we're off the air or on weekends, we'll come back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. We're on the air right now. We're coming directly to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina, guys. We're here on the air right now for you. Now, I'm going to preface this program just a little bit here. Now, we're on the air for you all the time, literally. Been there, done that. Earlier this week when there was emergencies happening, we came on the air early in the morning, once in the morning and once in the afternoon, and again later in the afternoon again, 3 times that day. That's what happens. That's exactly what happens. Now, guys, we're on the air whenever you need us. We're also available 24/7. You can reach us on our email, which you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now, rltnspdema@gmail.com. Our address, our mailing address, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. Also, if you want to help support this program, which we encourage you to do to help keep this program on the air. Well, when I first started, I didn't realize it costs money to keep programs on the air. It does. I have to buy bandwidth to make sure we reach all of you. Bandwidth is expensive, okay? I pay $258 a month right now. I understand from talking with our provider, it's going to go up from there, okay, very soon. So we appreciate your contributions to help us keep us on the air. You can go to our PayPal locations. You also see scrolling across the bottom of your screen here. go to our PayPal and help make donations to our program. We greatly appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. Now, a lot of things are happening, okay, all around the world, that affect each one of us, okay, affect each of us, okay. Earlier this morning, Carol and I were talking about gas prices. We talked with one of our sons that was paying $3.86 a gallon in Utah, northern Utah. Now, in California, we saw prices upwards of $9 a gallon the other day. $9 a gallon for gas. That's stupidity. Really stupidity. $4 a gallon in Arizona. That's insane. Literally insane. Now, we saw prices earlier this week when we went to Walmart. We saw prices upwards of $3.69 a gallon for gas. $3.69 a gallon. We've also seen prices $3.74 a gallon. However, the average price for gas here in North Carolina is $3.46 a gallon. It's higher here in the mountainous region of North Carolina now. Okay? Incredible. Insane. Now, just a month ago, we paid as little as $2.49 a gallon for gas. Now it's nearly $1 more than that. Actually, it's more than $1 more. $3.69 a gallon. That's stupidity. Stupidity. Now, some people blame the gas prices on what is going on in the Middle East. Some part of that is correct. It's correct. Okay? Now, we don't get most of our gas, any part of that, from the Middle East. Our gas is primarily manufactured, pulled out of the ground here in the United States. However, gas prices can fluctuate because of what's going on in the Middle East. As soon as we started the war in Iran, yes, we started. Okay? However, Iran was pushing us to do it. How? Because Iran was going to start if we weren't going to do that. They had the capability of making a nuclear bomb. Okay? They had the capability of making a nuclear bomb. So US and Israel did attack Iran. We've knocked out that capability almost indefinitely. Now, this week alone, okay, last week we took out all of their military commanders. We thought we had all of their leaders all over Iran. Now, that wasn't necessarily true. Okay? The main leader in Iran is still an Ayatollah. Okay? The former Ayatollah Khamenei's son. Now, we think we got him. We're not sure. President Trump thinks we got him. He may not be in the best of health, but we got him anyway. We took him offline. However, that's not necessarily the case. We may have taken him offline, we don't know. But we got most of the other leaders as well this week. Almost all the leadership in Iran has been taken out. Okay? But until we know for sure and Iran surrenders, we will keep on with this campaign. Now, we took out Carrick Island. We took off all the military forces on Carrick Island, which is Iran's primary fuel pumping area, oil and gas pumping area. We took all their military off that island and destroyed them. Okay? We did not touch the pumping towers, the pumps and jacks. We did not touch their manufacturing capability, nor did we touch their supply tanks on the island. But we took out their military capability. Now, yesterday, Israel attacked another island there in Iran. Iran possibly even lost their capability on that island of pumping fuel. Okay, if that's the case, that may affect us greatly. We don't know yet. Okay, as we get more information, we'll pass it on to you. But Israel took out their capabilities on another pumping island over there in the Gulf. Okay, as we get more information, we'll pass it on. Now, this is ongoing prosecution of the war. Okay, President Trump hopes it only will last another couple of weeks. We hope. We hope. We hope Iran puts in people that will replace those Islamic totalitarianism people. We hope. Now, guys, we cannot stand to have Islamic fundamentalism take over this world. That's what Iran wanted to do. They want to take over the world. Now, they have put out information here in our own country that they want to take out the West. They want to control the world. They want to control the world. They've come in here to the United States. There are a lot of terrorists here in the United States. A lot of those terrorists are Muslims. There's Muslim fundamentalists. They are organized into terror cells. Those terror cells are still attacking our capabilities here in the United States. They're attacking our schools. They're attacking our homes. They're attacking our gas stations. They're attacking everything we hold dear. Okay? They want to take us over. They think they can do it. I'm here to tell you, I am one white-blooded American. Yes, I'm saying white as in racist because I'm not racist, but I'm standing up for what I believe in. I think we all should. Okay? I think we all should stand up for what we believe in. We need to stand up. We need to understand that we cannot have Islamic fundamentalism here taking over our country. We have several cities here in the United States that have been taken over by Islamic fundamentalism. That needs to be reversed. That needs to be reversed. They have said they're going to take over cities in Texas. One of the most conservative states in the country is Texas. Yet Islamic fundamentalism wants to take over. So far, the state of Texas has rebelled and has kept them from doing that. We hope Texas will continue. They've taken over in Utah as well. Yes, there's a Democrat communist in charge in City Hall in Texas, or in Salt Lake City. But there's also high-level Islamic fundamentalists in Salt Lake City. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Nobody. Nobody at all. But in Chicago, Illinois, several other cities in towns in Illinois have been taken over. Michigan, Minnesota have also been taken over. We cannot allow this to happen. Not at all. New York has been taken over as well, but the city of New York has all of a sudden awakened and said, no, we're not going to put up with this. They're rebelling against the mayor of New York. He may be forced to either surrender or even be taken out. We don't know. Now, I don't advocate violence of any sort. I never have, never will. But guys, we cannot allow our cities to be taken over. Not here in the United States, not anywhere in the world. In England, in Britain, London, they have an Islamic mayor there in control. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of Islamic fundamentalism put in force in London and over Britain. That cannot be allowed to continue. Can't. Just can't. We hope and pray that all of us come together around the world and stop this trend. We cannot allow it. We are a Christian world based on Christian traditionalist values. We hope that will continue. May God bless us to that end. Now, I have a lot of things I need to talk about today. I'm going to start with the worldwide earthquakes first. I'm going to bring up USGS map here, if you'll permit me. I'm going to take down our EMA banner. I'm going to take down our webcam right now for this purpose. I want to show you the world. Right now I have it centered over here on the southwest side of the Pacific Ocean, just south of the Kamchatka Peninsula of Russia, down here in the northern Kuril Islands. You see a swarm of earthquakes here. That's been happening all night long. Right here, this is a 5.6 earthquake here in the northern Kuril Islands, 104 miles south of Severo, Kuril Islands. 5.6 large earthquake here. This is also 35 miles deep. Shell earthquake. This is a 5.2. Also a shell earthquake at 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. This is a 4.3. This is a 4.8. This is a 4.5. This is a 4.7. And this is a 4.8 earthquake here. Okay? As a result of that 5.6 earthquake, we have a bunch of aftershocks. Aftershocks. That's what happens. Whenever we have a large earthquake or larger, we're going to have aftershocks here. I'm really surprised USGS is actually showing that. We go into the center part of the Kuril Islands here. We have another 4.4 moderate earthquake here. This is 12 miles deep here. 12 miles deep here. We go south between Hokkaido and Honshu, Japan here. South between Hokkaido and Honshu, Japan here. Out in the open waters of the Pacific here. This is a 4.7 earthquake. 4.7 earthquake. This happens to be 22 miles deep. 22 miles deep. 22 miles northeast of Misawa, Japan, at Honshu. Okay? There are other earthquakes in here in Japan, and USGS is not showing those earthquakes. We go south here. We don't see any earthquakes here in the Mariana Trench here. We go over here to Taiwan, over here to the Philippines. The Philippines has earthquakes, Taiwan does not. USGS is not showing any earthquakes in the Philippines, but there are 3 earthquakes here in the Philippines, 2 on the southeast side of Mindanao, Philippines, and 1 on the southwest side of Mindanao, Philippines, which is the largest island here in the Philippines. Right here. Okay? We go down here into the Indonesia area. Look at this. Look at this. 58 earthquakes here in Indonesia today. 58. USGS is not even showing any of them. Not one. That's a crying shame. This is a crying shame, guys. They're not showing any earthquakes even anywhere in this region. That's sad. That's very sad. Here in Indonesia, this region, stretching from Southeast Asia over here between Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, over Vietnam, guess what? This starts here in this region here in Southeast Asia, all across the southern Pacific here, out here to Tonga and Samoa region, down here into New Zealand. 7 different tectonic plates here. 7 different huge tectonic plates in this region. There are all kinds of earthquakes here. And yet USGS doesn't show any of them. Pretty sad. Pretty sad. They show 1 earthquake over here in Fiji. Fiji. This is a 4.8 moderate earthquake here. South of Fiji. Guys, this is also 565 kilometers deep. This is a deep earthquake. As a result of this deep earthquake here, we are going to see a 5.9 to 6.1 earthquake. A 5.9 to 6.1 very strong earthquake here in this region sometime within the next 3 to 10 days. That means we are going to expect to see 7 count them 7 very large or very strong earthquakes here in this region within the next 3 to 10 days. Incredible. Incredible. That's going to happen. Now, they don't want to show them. We have earthquakes down here in the Kermadec Islands, just north of New Zealand. Here in the Kermadec Islands, USGS is not showing one of them. We have 4.3, 4.5, and 4.8 earthquakes here in the Kermadec Islands. These are unoccupied islands except for birds. These are not inhabited by anything but birds. Okay? Birds are here. They may have gotten their feathers ruffled from having these earthquakes here. But nobody died as a result of these earthquakes today. Moderate earthquakes here in the Kermadec Islands. Down here in New Zealand, they've had small 3.0, 3.7. They've had 2.0 to 2.8 earthquakes here in New Zealand, North and South Islands of New Zealand. Small and minor earthquakes here in New Zealand. Not a big deal. USGS not showing one of them. Not one of them. That's sad. Down here in the Indian Ocean, the Carlsberg Ridge here. Okay? We have a large 5.0 earthquake here in the southern Carlsberg Ridge here in the Indian Ocean. This large 5.0 earthquake is going to climb out of this region all the way up here into the Gulf of Aden. Okay, it could climb up here in the Gulf of Aden. It also could go into Iran. It could also go into Iran. It might very well do that. Okay, if it does go into Iran or the Gulf of Aden here in the Middle East, it'll take maybe a week. Take maybe a week here. Possibility here. Okay. Now, they're not showing one single earthquake here in Europe at all. Not one. They're showing one earthquake over here in the South Mid-Atlantic. Right here. The South Sandwich Islands here. This is a 5.1 large earthquake here. Okay. This happened late in the evening last night. This is also 21.8 or 22 miles deep here. Shallow quake. This earthquake here is going to go up here to the east on the Antarctic Ridge and climb out here into the Mid-Atlantic, going into the southern Mid-Atlantic, probably within the next 24 to 48 hours. So we're going to see large seismic energy here in the South Mid-Atlantic within the next 24 hours here. Okay? Right now, they're not showing anything here in the Mid-Atlantic at all. They're not showing any earthquakes here in South America. Very strange. There are 62 earthquakes here in South America. All 62 earthquakes are either here in Chile, Peru, Ecuador, or even over here in Colombia. All 62 earthquakes. USGS shows none. Over here south of Panama, we still have earthquakes here almost every other day. This is a large 5.2 earthquake here south of Panama. Large 5.2 earthquake south of Panama here. Okay? We go up here. Okay? Now we're talking about Nicaragua. Southeast of Managua, Nicaragua, the capital Nicaragua. This is a 3.5 small earthquake. 3.5 small earthquake. There are 13 earthquakes here in Central America. 13. USGS doesn't show any at all. None. We go up here north of Guatemala. This is Mexico, southern Mexico. There are 62 earthquakes here in southern Mexico, from the north area of Guatemala all the way up to Puerto Vallarta here. 62 earthquakes. They're not showing a single one. Not one. Okay? Now we go up into Southern California. Yes, we have earthquakes here in Southern California. Down here south of the border, Baja California. This is a 1.8 tremor here. And they say this is southeast of Campo, California, or Campo, California. They say this is, here on the map, it's south of the border. South of the border. 1.8 tremor here. This earthquake here is also southeast of Campo in Mexico, 1.5 tremor. Guys, this is near Matadero, California, not Campo, California. Campo, California is right here. This is Campo, California. I've been here. I've been in Campo before. They have a railroad station here. Railroad station that hasn't been used in like 70 years. I've been in Campo. There's no reason, heck, that USGS should be showing these earthquakes that are in Mexico and they're saying they're in Campo, California. USGS has its directions completely off. Totally off. Okay? Over here in western Imperial Valley, we have earthquakes here. Okay? This is a 1.1 tremor here. 1.1 tremor. Okay? They say this is 9 miles west of Westmoreland, California. This is 1.1 as well. Also 9 miles southwest of Westmoreland. Let's back this out a little bit. Let's go over here, Westmoreland. This is Westmoreland right here. This is Westmoreland. These earthquakes should not be linked to Westmoreland at all. Not at all. These are out in the Ocotillo Desert here. Ocotillo Desert here. Okay? It's out in the desert area. Nowhere near any cities or towns. Nowhere near it. Misidentified as well. Okay? We go up here to the north. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake here. They have this 10 miles south of Sultan City. 10 miles south of Sultan City. Sultan City is right here. Nowhere near that earthquake. Nowhere near that earthquake at all. Two other earthquakes here. This is a 2.1. Also 10 miles south of Sultan City. This earthquake here, 1.6 tremor, 7 miles north of Ocotillo Wells. North of Ocotillo Wells. Ocotillo Wells right there. Okay? Then we go over here. Okay? This is over on the west side of the Chocolate Mountains here. Ocotillo Wells, 13 miles southwest of Ocotillo Wells. This is a 0.4 microquake. We go up here to the north. This is 0.5 in just south of Borrego Springs. The Anza Borrego Desert State Park. Earthquakes here. This is a 0.7 microquake. Right next to it is a 0.2 microquake. Borrego Springs, Anza Borrego Desert State Park. We go over here to the southwest here. This is a 0.5 microquake, but in this case, it's northeast of Julian, California. Excuse me, Julian, California. Julian, California is right there. Right there. I'm sorry, no, it isn't. My bad. Julian, California is over here in the mountains of San Diego County, East San Diego County, right there. Julian, California. They're saying this is east of Julian, California, northeast of Julian, California, right there. See Julian here. East Julian, California. Okay? We come down here to the west. Ramona, California. Ramona, California. This is a 1.0 tremor here. Ramona, California. Southwest of Ramona. Southwest of Ramona, California. Where are we at? Poway, California. Poway, California, guys. I lived in Poway, California for a lot of years here in San Diego County. Good old Poway, California. I grew to love Poway. I grew to love Poway. Okay? Hold Poway as my second hometown. My second hometown. Great place. Great place. Okay? Then, over here in San Diego City. San Diego City. Down here. South San Diego County. Right here. Chula Vista. Chula Vista, California. This is a 1.2 tremor here. 1.2 tremor here. Now, guys, I'm going to zoom in here and let you see where it's at. Now, look at this. There is a quarry north of this earthquake. Quarry north of this earthquake. Typically, they have shown these earthquakes as quarry blasts. It's not a quarry blast. South of the quarry. It's also west of East Lake. This is East Lake right here. I spend a lot of time in East Lake. One of my best friends has a home here with his wife in East Lake, California. This is 1.2 tremor, 4 miles east of Chula Vista. East of Chula Vista. Okay? Happens. Happens. Now, we don't see any other earthquakes here in San Diego City at all. Not at all. We go up here to the north. Okay? This is Ramona again. Ramona, California. Go north of Cascadia, we don't see any earthquakes. Okay? Up here to the north. Usually around Palomar, California, we have some earthquakes here, but we don't. Not today. Not today. Now, I'm going to zoom out here a little bit. Okay? This is Palomar Observatory right here. Good old Palomar Observatory right here. Northeast of Escondido. Northeast of Escondido. I've been here many times. This is on the San Jacinto Fault. On the San Jacinto Fault. To the south here, see the fault here? Guys, this is Elsinore Fault here. Elsinore Fault here, right there. Lake Henshaw, the Elsinore Fault. The Elsinore Fault comes over here into Elsinore, California, right here. Elsinore, California is right here. That's what the fault is named after, Elsinore Fault. Up here to the north, right here. This is 1.6 tremor here. This is Los Angeles County. 1.6 tremor here. California. Okay? LA has earthquakes. But look, they're not showing but one. Just one over here north of Los Angeles City. Highland Park again. This is the second time they showed us earthquake here in Highland Park. This is a 1.1 tremor here in Los Angeles. There are dozens and dozens of earthquakes here in Los Angeles. Over 400 earthquakes a day here in Los Angeles. But they show us two. Two earthquakes here. That's pretty sad. Considering this fault right here, the San Andreas. is about to pop. The San Andreas Fault is about to pop here. Any day now. The San Andreas Fault is going to show us a 6.5 to 7.5 major earthquake. 6.5 very strong to 7.5 major earthquake. Could happen any day here. Literally, it's imminent. It's imminent. Yet USGS doesn't want to show us any earthquakes. That's pretty sad. Off the coast of LA, right here, south of Malibu State Beach. This is a 1.3 tremor here. 1.3 tremor here. We've had earthquakes here before. We're going to have them again. Okay? Now, let's go up here. They don't show us anything here near Santa Barbara or Ojai. Santa Maria, nothing. Nothing. Up here near Parkfield, no earthquakes here in Parkfield, California on the San Andreas Fault, but east of Parkfield. East of Parkfield here. We have a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake here. Alpa, California. ALPAGUGH, Alpa, California. 2.0 earthquake here. We go up here to the north here on the San Andreas, right here. Tres Pinos, California. 2.1 minor earthquake here. Northeast of there, a 1.0 tremor here, also 5 miles northeast of Tres Pinos. Further to the north here, literally right next to Monterey Bay. 1.2 tremor here, San Juan Bautista, California. 1.2, 2.3 minor earthquake here, also in Aromas, California. To the east, on the Hayward Fault, 1.6 tremor here in Gilroy, California. We continue to see earthquakes here in Gilroy all the time. Just to north of Gilroy, this is 1.5 tremor here. Okay? They don't show any earthquakes on the Hayward Fault or on the Calaveras. They don't show any earthquakes in San Ramon either. But over here in Pacifica, on the San Andreas Fault here, west of the bay, this is a 1.0 tremor here. Interesting. Very interesting. We go over here. We always have earthquakes here, always, without fail. This is a geothermal area linked to what they call the geysers. The geysers. Out here, the geysers, men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of this lake, the volcano, the Clear Lake volcano. They drilled into the Clear Lake volcano to obtain steam, 2 power turbines here in the geysers facility here in Sonoma Valley, California. The power turbines to generate electricity here in the geysers. These are earthquakes that happen every day. Anywhere from 20 to 50 earthquakes happen here every day. Occasionally we'll even see as many as 100 earthquakes here we saw just about a week or so ago. We have a brand new earthquake here. This is 1.2 tremor here in the geysers facility. Just southeast of Clear Lake, linked to the volcano. This is a 2.5 earthquake here. Lower Lake, California, just south of Clear Lake volcano. 2.5 earthquake here. This is a 2.9, 3.0 here. This is a 2.5 minor earthquake here. South of Clear Lake volcano. South of Clear Lake volcano. We go north here. Pillsbury, California. This is also almost an everyday occurrence here. This is 1.6 tremor here. We go further to the north, on northern San Andreas Fault here. Northern San Andreas Fault. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. Okay, we're going to talk about the San Andreas Fault tonight. We're going to be talking about the Cascadia subduction zone and the greater Cascadia subduction zone earthquake. The greater Cascadia subduction zone megathrust earthquake. Okay? This is in the southern Cascadia region. The southern Cascadia region. A 2.0 earthquake here on the San Andreas Fault. Okay? Now, they're not showing any earthquakes here in Oregon. None. None. Okay? We go up here to Washington State. Actually, I'm sorry, they're showing one earthquake here. They didn't show this earlier. This is in Wheeler, Oregon. 1.6 tremor here in Wheeler, Oregon. Going up here into Washington State. They're showing us one earthquake over here at Mount Rainier. Interesting. Interesting. This is in the foothills of Mount Rainier National Park. Foothills of Mount Rainier volcano. They're showing this as a 0.3 microquake. 8 miles northeast of Ashford, Washington. This is nowhere near Ashford, Washington. This is at Mount Rainier volcano. Why are they not showing this as an earthquake at the volcano? Yeah, they don't want to do that. They don't want anybody to realize this earthquake is at a volcano. Yeah, that's because they know darn well that this volcano is about to erupt. Okay, it's getting close to eruption, as well as down here at Mount St. Helens. They're not showing anything here, but there are earthquakes here as well. All the time. All the cotton picking time. Now, I'm going to leave this map here. Let's take down this map. Now, I want to show you what is actually happening here in the Pacific Northwest. Okay? What's going on? Let's look at the tremor map. This map is manufactured by the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network, operated by the University of Washington. They're not showing one single tremor. They're not showing one single earthquake at all in southwestern Canada, Washington, and Oregon. None. Not a one. Not one. But where are they showing them at? Mount Lassen. Near Mount Lassen volcano. Yes, guys, Mount Lassen is also showing signs that could possibly erupt again. Mount Lassen has not erupted for over 100 years. But Mount Lassen is also showing signs it could erupt. Okay? But again, the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network isn't showing anything happening in Washington, Oregon, but there are earthquakes. I can show you all kinds of earthquakes here. There are. They happen every day. Every day. But USGS doesn't show any. That's insane. That's utterly insane. Now, we're going to talk about Cascadia here. I'm going to spend the rest of our time tonight talking about the possibility of a Cascadia earthquake. The possibility of a Cascadia earthquake. It's very likely. It is very, very likely. Now, I'm not trying to scare anybody. And talking about what we're talking about tonight is very important. Otherwise, we would not even mention it. The Cascadia earthquake is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's not if, but when. When? The scientists have been talking about Cascadia for years and years now. Lots and lots of years. It's going to happen. Now, to deny it would be saying we don't know what we're talking about. There are people here on YouTube, other people on Facebook, social media. They're trying to say nothing's going to happen. Don't listen to that. Find out for yourself. Find out for yourself, guys. Why is that important? Why is finding out yourself if that's important? Number one, if you live here, it's important. Number two, if you have family or friends here, it's important to understand. It's very likely to happen very soon. Very soon. It's been 336 years since it happened the last time. Happened on January 28th, 1700. Like I said, it's likely to happen any day now. Literally any day. Again, I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just putting the word out. I want everybody to be aware of what's actually happening. To do otherwise, I will be negligent. Anybody that's not talking about this is negligent. Negligent, what does that mean? That simply means that they're either not doing their job or they don't know what they're talking about. That's a plain and simple of it all. Insane. Literally insane. Now, guys, we've been talking about Cascadia since I first went on the air back in 2017. Or 2019, I'm sorry, 2019. We've been talking about it. We're not going to stop. We're not going to stop. I believe it's very important to put the warning voice out. Earthquake's going to hit whether anybody realizes it or not. The plate here in the Pacific Northwest is locked in place. Locked in place. When that happens, any other seismic energy comes anywhere near it, it's locked up even tighter. At some point, that tight bond, look at it as if it's a ball wrapped with rubber bands. Sooner or later, those rubber bands are going to put such pressure on that ball, it's going to pop. That's what's happening here. The more seismic energy we have here in the Cascadia, or even on the San Andreas, that's what's going to cause it to pop. Plain and simple. It's going to cause it to pop. Okay? That's why we're talking about this tonight. Okay? First off, let's talk about the tsunami. Within anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes after the earthquake hit, back in 1700, there was a tsunami that impacted the Puget Sound region that had been triggered by the Cascadia Megathrust Earthquake, a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake off the coast of northwestern Oregon. That earthquake affected the entire west coast of North America, the entire northwest coast of North America. Vancouver, British Columbia, I would even say up to Haida Gwaii. Haida Gwaii. Why? Because the Cascadia Megathrust Earthquake fault links up to southern Haida Gwaii. So we're talking about Haida Gwaii South, Vancouver Island, Vancouver, British Columbia, Washington State, Oregon, and all of California. All of California. Okay? The event happened on the evening of January 26th, as documented in Japanese historic records. In Japan, the event was called an orphan tsunami because the earthquake was so far away from the tsunami that hit Japan. The seismic wave went all the way across the Pacific to the west and hit Japan. It also hit Kamchatka. It also hit Alaska. But the Japanese people kept a diary, a journal of what happened. The other piece of significant information, evidence for the tsunami comes from the dead trees, what they call the ghost forest of Oregon and Washington, that can be and have been carbon dated back with tree ring studies. Those trees were in lush coastal forests when they are flooded with salt water, initially up to 12 meters deep, 36 feet deep. Why? Because when that earthquake happened, the land base fell. The land those trees were on fell. And as a result, seawater rushed into where those trees were planted. Seawater rushed in, killed the plants, killed the trees. Over the years, now they're black or even partially decayed. They're called ghost forests, thought to have been instantly killed by the salt water that flooded that area. When that land fell, subsidence. It's called subsidence, land falling. Land falling, associated with that Megathrust earthquake. Then hit by the tsunami, the water. There are many tree stumps that stick out of the sand here, at low tide here along the coastal areas of Washington and Oregon. At low tide. Those trees were killed by the salt water from the tsunami. When the elevation of the land sunk, some of those trees were completely buried by the salt water and sand. Since then, large storms have eroded the sand from the trees and exposed the plain black bark. Those ghost forests remain as evidence of the huge tsunami more than 300 years ago. Oral accounts from one person to another, from indigenous Native Americans and First Nation tribes living on the east coast of Vancouver Island in Canada, passed down that information from generation to generation, that tell of the earthquake, or a huge raven. They say a huge raven shook the earth on a winter's evening. Then the water rushed in. The accounts describe all of the low-lying settlements that were wiped out. And the only survivors of those were those people who lived 75 feet above the waterline. 75 feet above the waterline. So as you know, these tsunamis were massive. These huge tsunamis were massive. The subsidence and seismic records and tsunami records suggest that the earthquake was in the range of magnitude 8.7 to 9.2, possibly larger, on the Richter scale. Now you might ask, what is a megathrust earthquake? What is a megathrust earthquake? A megathrust earthquake is a very powerful earthquake, usually close to or greater than a magnitude 9.0. Close to or greater than a magnitude 9.0 earthquake. These quakes occur at subduction zones, where one plate is thrust under the other, just like this. One plate is thrust under the other, just like this. This is what's happening over off the coast of Washington, Oregon, and southern Vancouver, Canada. Okay? That's what happens. When this happens, the overriding plate moves upwards rapidly. So the subducting plate causes the overlying plate to rise up like this. When that happens, water rushes in. Which causes a tsunami. What is incredible about these events is the motion covers such massive areas. In the 2004 Indian Ocean event, remember that earthquake? Huge 9.0 earthquake in Java, Indonesia. The 2004 Indian Ocean event, an area of 180 kilometers wide and 1,000 kilometers long, moved upwards by 30 meters. The land height moved upwards by 30 meters. In the 2011 Tohoku event in Japan, also 9.0 earthquake. The area, 200 kilometers long by 500 kilometers wide, moved up by 20 meters. You might think that's incredible as well. I do. But back to Cascadia. The whole margin from Northern California to British Columbia lies about 200 kilometers from the plate boundary. Lies 200 kilometers from the plate boundary, where the Juan de Fuca fault is sliding beneath the North American plate like this. The Juan de Fuca fault is sliding underneath the North American fault like this. Paleoseismology, the exploration of evidence of ancient quakes from rocks, has become a cottage industry in Washington and Oregon. And it suggests that a major megathrust earthquake occurs every 500 years on average. It's already been 300 years since the last 1700 event. Thus, we're getting closer to the time for another major event. Scientists believe it's overdue. Scientists are saying the probability of such a massive quake is in the next 50 to 12%. 50 years is about 12%. About 1 in 8, which is not significant. But what I am saying, judging from the information we now have, the evidence that's presently being had, the evidence that we presently have right now, almost on a daily basis now, the evidence that we're given presents that we have the expansion of that information ongoing. We're saying that the Cascadia earthquake is possibly going to occur within the next 5 years. That's why USGS is not showing any evidence of that. They're not showing any evidence of earthquakes at all, because they don't want to give anybody any ideas that something's going to happen. This is a scenario that could play out in the Cascadia region. A magnitude 9+ earthquake is going to rock the plate boundary, leading to 1,000-kilometer long rupture. 1,000-kilometer long rupture from Haida Gwaii all the way to northern Mexico. From Haida Gwaii to the north, British Columbia, Canada, all the way down to northern Mexico. The entire west coast of North America is going to be affected. Within 15 to 30 minutes after that, a huge tsunami wave, not just one wave, but multiple waves that travel at over 800 kilometers per hour. Those waves are traveling at over 800 kilometers per hour. Now, folks, Folks on the coast are going to feel the earthquake waves first. You're going to feel the earthquake shaking first. You might only feel 7.0 to 8.0, which is a major earthquake. But it could also be upwards of 9.0 plus earthquake. This massive, severe shaking will crumble older buildings with poor construction. We know for a fact in Canada and the United States, Washington, Oregon, and California, that there are older buildings built in the 1800s before they had seismic standards. Poor construction. Those buildings are going to collapse. Bridges are also going to collapse. Because of the shaking, there's going to be massive landslides as well. What else? Can you folks tell me what else is going to happen? What else is going to happen? We're going to have soil liquefaction. Soil liquefaction, what's that? That means the soil near the beaches, the soil within 5 to 10 miles east of the coastline. That is sandy, loamy soil. When the shaking starts up, the shaking is going to rise the groundwater up into the soil, which is going to make that soil, loamy soil, sandy soil, liquefied. Anything that's sitting on the soil is going to sink into the ground. Just sink into the ground. Buildings and homes, bicycles, telephone poles and cars. Anybody standing is also going to sink into the soil. You may disappear. If you're a human when that shaking starts, you might disappear. Liquefaction, guys. When waterlogged soil turns into jello, basically. Liquefied soil turns into jello. We also saw that happen in Anchorage. Back in 2019. 7.0 earthquake there. When these kind of earthquakes hit, it's going to strand communities. Communities are not going to be able to move. We've talked about this before. Bridges are going to go down. The only people that will be able to go anywhere are people with four-wheel drive vehicles. Maybe. Four-wheel drive Jeeps. Four-wheel drive recreational vehicles. Motorcycles. ATVs. Because the bridges are going to go down, you're not going to be able to cross rivers. It's going to prevent you from crossing rivers. Because of the shaking, the rivers are going to expand their banks. Property damages are going to be terrible. Terrible damage everywhere. Everyone along the coastline will know that the worst is yet to come. And they're going to need to evacuate as soon as the land stops shaking. The deformation that occurs along the plate boundaries could cause the land at the coast to sink up to 6 feet. The land at the coast is going to sink 6 feet, 2 meters deep, making the coastal zone much more susceptible to flooding. The first tsunami wave will reach the coast from Victoria Island in Canada to Northern California. The first tsunami wave from Victoria Island in Canada to Northern California, and then to Southern California down to Northern Mexico. from the time of 15 to 20 minutes after the shaking stops. That 15 to 20 minutes may give you time to escape to higher ground. Escaping to higher ground, what does that mean for you? I'm going to tell you what it means. Presently today, they've already built 3 locations, 3 towers. 3 towers, guys, that you might be able to evacuate to. 2 are in Washington State. 1 is in Oregon. 2 in Washington State and 1 in Oregon. More towers are also planned. Tower 1, Tokeland, Washington. This is what it looks like. Anywhere from 100 feet off the ground and rising. 100 feet off the ground and rising. The second tower, right here. It's at an elementary school. It's at an elementary school. On the roof of the elementary school here. The roof of this elementary school is capable of having 1,000 people on the roof. It's a strengthened roof. It's going to accommodate at least 1,000 people here on the roof. The third tower is in Oregon, Newport, Oregon, at the University of Oregon, and it's Earth Sciences building here. The Earth Sciences building here. So far, these are only the 3 places you're going to be able to go to, unless you can reach higher ground further to the east. As I said, more towers are in the planning right now. More towers are planned right now. Only 3 vertical evacuation structures I've shown you are the only ones in existence right now in the 2-state area. Only thing left. Only thing left. Those towers might be able to accommodate maybe 3,000 to 4,000 people, that's all. What's going to happen to everybody else? What's going to happen to anybody else? Unless you're in some multi-story building that survives, not demolished, then you might be able to stand in that multi-story building, and maybe you'll be able to still stay there if other earthquakes don't kill that building, don't inundate that building. Guys, I don't hold out much hope for this. I really don't. I know they're in the planning stages of building those other buildings, but planning stages aren't doing anything right now. Nothing. Those tsunami waves I'm talking about could be anywhere from 30 to 40 feet high, 9 to 12 meters high, or as much as 100 to 150 feet high. Tsunami waves, not just one, but multiple waves. Scientists say they could go up to 30 meters, 100 feet or higher, 100 feet or higher, along many parts of the coastline, from Canada down to northern Mexico. Northern Mexico. Why? Because when this earthquake hits, it's going to trigger the San Andreas Fault. There is going to be shaking felt all the way down to Mexico. All the way down to Mexico. All up and down the entire west coast of North America. The tsunami waves are going to flood up to 10 miles inland, 16 kilometers inland, maybe further. Why do I say that? The simple reason is this. those people that are up there that are able to evacuate. If the water is going through your cities, the major cities, when it goes through those tall buildings, by simple physics, when water goes through narrow areas under pressure, the water goes through and it causes additional pressure. The water speeds up, doesn't it? When water speeds up, it goes further. Some cases, we may have flooding as far as 20, 30 miles inland, or maybe even further. We don't know. We don't know. But they're saying at least 10 miles inland right now. Some parts of the coast are a lot more vulnerable to tsunami waves than others. And citizens in these locations will have to move to higher ground. Rapidly, extremely rapidly, once the earthquake waves subside. Earthquake shaking waves subside. The shaking is going to keep coming. Aftershocks are going to hit. Again, this is going to be a major megathrust earthquake. A major megathrust earthquake here, guys. It's going to hit. We promise you it's going to hit. The aftershocks from something like this is going to be 7.0, 8.0, 8.5, 7.5, 7.0, 6.5, 6.0, and 5.0 earthquakes. Aftershocks are going to hit here for years. Years. Now, at some point in time, those aftershocks could go down to moderate 4.0, 4.9, and small 3.0, 3.9. But it's going to take a while for that to happen. It'll take hours, days, and weeks before the waves stop coming in. Hours, days, and possibly weeks before the waves stop coming in. The waves are going to keep coming in. And the time between each wave will be measured from anywhere from 60 seconds on up to 2-3 minutes between big waves. It's going to take hours before those waves subside, maybe days. Now, right now it's been over 336 years since the 1700 event happened. In this time, stress has been building between the plates. Stress has been building and magnifying the stress here between the plates. Evidence suggests that it may not be too long before the great megathrust earthquake happens and shakes this region. We do not know when that will happen. It could be tomorrow, or it could be many years from now. Because we've been monitoring this earthquake, we've been monitoring what's been happening recently. It could happen within the next 5 years. That's our estimate, only an estimate. I'm not trying to put any fear porn out there, but I'm just being realistic. We don't know when it's going to happen. Could be a full magnitude 9.0 or larger, what they call a full rip. A full rip, or a partial rupture, an 8.8, 8.0, 8.8 magnitude earthquake, full rip. Either would have significant impacts. Either kind of earthquake would have significant impacts. Given the uncertainty, it is extremely important to understand the potential impacts from a Cascadia earthquake and any resulting tsunami to prepare for those eventualities. Now, I've been working earthquakes in the Cascadia region for years, lots of years, since 2014. In 2014, I was in Spokane, Washington with the first Cascadia drill. First Cascadia drill. I'm very familiar with what's going on here. Emergency managers are planning for an event similar to the 1700 earthquake and the subsequent tsunami as well. Okay, they have had a drawn up document called the scenario document called the Cascadia Region Earthquake Work Group, CREW, CREW, the Cascadia Region Earthquake Work Group. This scenario assumes that the earthquake will be felt throughout the Pacific Northwest. Shaking will last 4 to 6 minutes at the beginning. The coast will subside or drop approximately 6 feet, 2 meters. A tsunami will happen within 15 to 30 minutes after that. The height of the tsunami wave will vary along the coastline depending on the local bathymetry and topography of the region. The tsunami may be as high as 30 to 40 feet, 9 to 12 meters in some places, but as high as 100 feet to 150 feet high. Tsunami waves. The amount of subsidence, amount of earth drop, when the earth that we are walking on drops, caused by the shaking earthquake, and the tide. The amount of subsidence is going to be different in different areas. It will also affect the wave heights. Waves of varying heights will continue over a period of hours, maybe days. The first tsunami wave may not be the largest tsunami wave. Flooding and dangerous currents may last for days. Additional hazards like liquefaction we talked about, when soil liquefies during shaking, landslides, fires from underground gas pipes, natural gas and liquefied gas, landslides from fires, dam failures, and hazardous material spills are going to be likely, especially in the Puget Sound region. Should the earthquake and tsunami happen in the near future, it could affect millions of people, property, infrastructure, and the environment. According to the Cascadia scenario document, the number of deaths is going to be quite much higher than what USGS predicts. The death rate could be over 10,000 people, and more than 30,000 people could be injured. And economic losses, approximately $7 billion for just Washington, Oregon, and California alone. $70 billion and higher between Washington, Oregon, and California alone. Now, the shaking is going to be felt all across the United States. The further away you get from the shaking, the less shaking you're going to experience. But this is going to be a plate rupture. The entire plate is going to shake from one end to the other, all the way to the East Coast. It is thought that by the time the shaking reaches the East Coast, it might be only felt as a large 5.0 earthquake. But all the way across Canada and the United States, you're going to feel shaking, extreme shaking. Since most construction in this region was not designed to survive earthquakes, much less tsunamis, buildings will be damaged and destroyed. Businesses will be crippled. Communications are going to be destroyed. Impacts on important infrastructure associated with transportation networks, roads, bridges, railways, ports, and shipping channels, communications, utilities, energy networks, and public health and medical systems will be significantly affected. Many thousands of people will be left homeless, and relief to coastal communities will be complicated, and the relief may be taking weeks to arrive. Basic services like electricity, water, and communications will be disrupted for long periods of time. I'm going to repeat that. Basic services like electricity, water, and communications will be disruptive for long periods of time. The tsunami will also cross the Pacific Ocean and bring flooding and strong currents to coastal communities throughout the entire Pacific Basin, from Alaska to as far away as Japan and islands in between, including Russia, Hawaii, Japan, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, and the South Pacific Islands. Now, because it will take more time for the tsunamis to reach these coasts, there will be more time for people throughout this world to prepare. It will give people around this Pacific Basin time to prepare. You may get notified that communications has gone down in the Pacific Northwest and along California and Canada. But communication will still get out that this has happened. Those people living out of Washington, Oregon, and California will get notified, hey, there's a tsunami waiting for you that's coming. The tsunami waves will take time to get there. The impact should not be as severe as those experienced in the Cascadia region or in California or Alaska as well. What is being done? Let's address what's being done. It's not a matter of if, but when the next significant Cascadia earthquake happens and the Cascadia tsunami event will occur. Now, while these natural hazards cannot be stopped, their impacts can be reduced. Scientists, engineers, and public officials are working together to better understand the threat and prepare coastal communities to better withstand the event. Efforts include identifying tsunami inundation areas, putting up signs along the coastline, which they've done. They've done that. They're educating the public about preparedness and hazard zones. And they're educating the public as to response practices. They're setting up local warning systems. They are adopting stronger building codes. They're also strengthening older building codes and structures. Now, a man named Chris Goldfinger has been a primary element with this. Chris Goldfinger right here. We've spoken about Chris Goldfinger many times in the past. Chris Goldfinger is Professor Emeritus at Oregon State University. He studied marine geology, geophysics, and paleoseismology, and subduction zone earthquakes. In 1995, at the beginning of his career, and 10 years before he started studying paleoseismology, Chris Goldfinger wrote a paper about tears in the Juan de Fuca plate and how those tears might actually end earthquakes. Yes, end earthquakes. End earthquakes. This is also before he addressed a local community in San Francisco in December 2019, where he told those people at that seminar that the Cascadia earthquake could trigger the San Andreas Fault, and thus the seismic energy could go all the way down to Southern California and to northern Mexico. Yeah, that's going to happen. But he has studied this, and he believes that there are tears in the Juan de Fuca plate. He said that they built a segment model for where earthquakes may have stopped in the past. That was based on the actual earthquake data. The basic idea, Chris Goldfinger said, is that the thing is rupturing along and hits a wall. The earthquake is rupturing along and hits a wall. Okay? Now, at the time, Chris Goldfinger said he was very skeptical, but we put it in there just because. Why not? It's a possibility, right? That was 30 years before the Cascadia seismic imaging experiment took place. The Cascadia seismic imaging experiment was where they took a monitor out on a boat. They took a monitor out on the boat and imaged the seafloor. They imaged the seafloor. Much like sound monitoring when they do a monitor of the human body. Sound waves bouncing on the seafloor. Now, it turns out that their speculation matches the paleoseismology. He says, I like the idea better than I did in 1995. That idea is this: a tear in the tectonic plate is essentially a tectonic plate boundary. The tear in the plate is essentially a tectonic plate boundary. Let's look at this. The earthquake may stop at the boundary plate of the right. We've talked about this. The shaking might stop at the plate boundary, or it might cross a plate boundary. Goldfinger said it's better than even odds that could stop a rupture. It's better than even odds that the plate tear could stop a plate rupture. For those of us who lie awake at night planning an escape route for when the real big one hits, this idea might lull us back to sleep, but possibly not. The tears in the tectonic plate, it's not a new feature. The tear in the tectonic plate is not a new feature in the tectonic plate system. They've been thinking about this a long time. They've been looking at it, testing a theory. Right now, it's only a theory. They believe that this region is going to suffer a 9.0 plus earthquake. This Megathrust earthquake has happened every 500 years over the last 100 centuries. The Holocene area of history covers about 10,000 years. That's how long the earthquake record is. So basically, nothing really important has changed in 10,000 years. The plate itself, the Juan de Fuca plate itself, is moving about 30, 40 millimeters a year, about an inch and a half a year, about an inch to inch and a half a year. The tears in the plate have been in the plates at least 250,000 years. The tears in the plates have been in the tectonic plates for at least 250,000 years, probably much longer. The idea is that the tear in the tectonic plate is essentially a plate boundary. They hope. The earthquake may stop at the boundary, or it may cross a boundary. But like I said, it's better than even odds that it could stop the rupture from happening. For those of us who lie awake at night planning an escape route for when the really big one hits, this could be lulling us back to sleep. But we don't know. We don't know. These faults may at least be partly responsible for that. Another reason we have to allow ourselves to fall asleep tonight. Any additional information is good information. Any additional information we get is good information. However, we can't forget what we already know. But the more you know about something, the more you can reason with the reality of it all. And then, once you can do that, you can actually start thinking about what to do about what's going to happen. You can start reasoning with yourself and your families about what you can do about it. Because what is known is much easier to deal with than the unknown. That is a direct quote from Chris Goldfinger. Yes, the tears in the plate might be where the plate will stop rupturing. We don't know. It's only a theory, but I thought I'd bring that out to you tonight. Because in the past, we've talked about the Cascadia earthquake as being all-encompassing. It may very well still will be. But we have to follow the laws of nature, the laws of God. We have to follow the laws of God. He's the one that made it. As we go forward, we are still going to look into what's going on. We'll keep you informed about what's happening. Next, this coming Friday, tomorrow, I'm going to talk about escape routes from the earthquake, escape routes from the Cascadia earthquake. Now, something you need to know. Once the earthquake starts shaking, the escape routes will utterly disappear. The escape routes from the quake will utterly disappear because, like I said, all the bridges are going to go down. I don't believe there's any bridge that's going to exist afterwards. Roads will also be impassable because the earthquake is going to shake and open up great big huge rifts or great big huge fissures in roadways. Roadways are going to become impassable. You're going to want to have an escape route, but you have to escape during a time when the earthquake is not shaking, meaning right now, meaning today, tomorrow, or before the earthquake hits. Does anybody have any questions for me? Aubrey is saying she heard about a woman in a video at the time this happens. What is Washington State prepared to do? She replies, what will you do? There's no plan in place. You're right. Right now, there's no firm plan in place. There's no firm plan in place because the simple reason is this new technology, this new information. They are still working on plans. They are still working on plans for this earthquake, what's going to happen. We've been working on plans since 2014. Recently, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it was at least 2 years ago, maybe 3, that they did another seismic event over in Washington State. They did another drill, Cascadia Rising drill. They're going to continue doing those drills. They're working on plans now. Every drill opportunity gives people Washington State and Oregon as well, and Canada, because Canadian officials are also part of the drill. Gives all those officials ideas on how they're going to work what happens after the earthquake happens. We have National Guard troops. We have Army, Air Force, Marines, and Navy troops on the ground that will be in the area to help as much as they can. Police and fire departments, sheriff's deputies from throughout the region are also going to be there. They're going to be there to help. But again, it's up to those people that are there to decide what they're going to do themselves. Why do you think we've been talking about preparedness for such a long time? On this channel, we've been talking about emergency preparedness for 7 years. 7 years. For all intents and purposes, this is still a very short time. But when I start talking about emergency preparedness, people go away. People stop watching this program because they instantly become non-interested. Not interested. Why? Because they say it's boring. They don't have interest in it. Guys, I'm going to put this out there for you. If you're interested in your survival, your family's survival, you need to be interested now. You need to be interested now. Tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about Cascadia earthquake survival. Cascadia earthquake survival. I hope you are all tuned in for that presentation tomorrow evening. It will start just shortly after 4 p.m. Eastern Time. 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you're here. Now, guys, as I've done for the last while now, we've been talking about Easter. I'm going to talk about Easter again tonight. I showed you these two pictures this past week. We have Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane. I've explained that. He prayed to Heavenly Father, his Heavenly Father. Father, please take this from me, but not my will be done, but thine will be done. He asked his Father to stop it from happening. He knew. Jesus Christ knew his mission from the very beginning. He knew it. He knew he had to die for everyone's sins here in this world. He knew he was going to be crucified. He was praying to his Heavenly Father. Please, Heavenly Father, stop it from happening. But not my will be done, but thine. Later, he was flogged, beat up. Great big, huge leather belts were used on his back, whipped till blood started oozing from his pores. It wasn't bad enough before when he was praying, where he wept great drops of blood from his body. Great big, huge drops of blood bled from his pores of his skin. The stress and anxiety he felt in the garden. Then he was taken and flogged. A crown of thorns was placed on his head. Then he was made to carry a huge cross out to Golgotha. Where he was crucified. My friend Richard Paul Evans, who has written many books, wrote this poem here that you see here in front of you. Oh Lord, if I could just borrow just one breath from the night you walked through the garden alone, not to ask for miracles, not to beg for proof, but to feel what it was like to be enough, just enough, without the weight of tomorrow's promises. And if you answered, I'd probably cry. Not because it hurt, but because I finally stopped pretending I knew how to carry it all. So keep the stars, keep the thunder. Just let me sit here in the dark and believe you're still listening. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, I know that Christ lives. He hears and answers our prayers. I know that. Brothers and sisters, it's time for each one of us to find our own testimonies of the Heavenly Father, to find our own testimonies of Jesus Christ, and stand in holy places. It's time for each one of us to gain a stronger testimony of Jesus Christ in our own lives. The time is now. The time is now. I want you to know I have a strong testimony of Jesus Christ. He lives. He lives who once was dead. He lives, my everlasting head. Our Savior. Jesus Christ is our Savior, our Redeemer, our Deliverer, and our King. I know that. Now, some of you also know that, but others of you might believe. Others of you might just believe, and that's fine. You need to have at least a belief. You need to at least have a belief in God and Jesus Christ. He's going to appear before us. He's going to appear before us and bring to us eternal life. And bring to us eternal life, which gift is the greatest of all gifts of God. May God bless us this day and always, that we might work to gain a stronger testimony of Jesus Christ. And also, that we might be able to help our families, our children, grandchildren, our brothers and sisters, and our parents to greater understanding of Jesus Christ. May God be with you this day and always. Pray. Find yourself a testimony of Jesus Christ. This weekend is Palm Sunday. I urge you to think about what we said. Think about how you're going to gain a stronger testimony of Jesus Christ. And then work the rest of your life to do those things which will bring you closer to our Heavenly Father. Because I hope in the coming days and months and years, we can all be together in heaven. We can all be together in heaven as families. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. That's my humble prayer. We can do that for each other. God bless us. Be with us always. Have a good night, everyone. Much love. We will be back with you tomorrow evening, just after 4 p.m., with another episode of Emergency Management Associates with you. Again, we're going to be talking about Cascadia and the way we can escape the earthquake before it happens. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Good night, everyone. Have a good night. See you soon. Bye.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family. inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright.